Hey everybody, round five, Vintage League. We were playing Bug, and I believe Dutch Boy plays Bug as well. Um, this hand is pretty mediocre, to be honest with you. Um, we are on the draw, which makes it more viable. We have a turn one answer to Deathrite Shaman, Wasteland to follow up. I think it's worth keeping. I mean, Collector Roof is fairly poor in general in the Bug matchup, but it can be all right. I think that's fine. I'd much rather get the Deathrite Shaman. And I think I'd be reasonably assertive in actually making sure I get it. It's such a vital card in the mirror. But let's see. Yeah, so I like my patience there. Um, we'll just counter that. Get rid of the wasteland. This is a nice setup now for our turn two Deathrite Shaman. Hopefully my opponent was more all in on that Deathrite, and they were. So that ended up working out pretty well for us. I suspect we'll get enough fight over this one. I think I'll go for the black source here to start, despite I have two collector roofs. Reason being is I very much would like to be in a position to drain while sitting on the back of a Flusterstorm. So we're dealing damage while doing that. So hopefully they miss here again. They just conceded from the game. Okay, so not really too much to bring in this particular matchup here. Infernal Reckoning doesn't do anything. One of the problems with Infernal Reckoning versus something like a Fatal Push is it doesn't have the utility in a matchup like this, but I really wanted to have something that was good against workshops in general, and gaining the life is not irrelevant. So I'm trying the Infernal Reckoning here. I'm not sure how good it is. Um, Anyone who's watched any of my bug videos previous, I really am struggling significantly against bug or against workshops, excuse me. So I think it's worthwhile doing this. Playing engineer, of course, is for the presence of Sedgewitch, and it's been pretty good for me in a couple different places. Whether it's correct or not, I don't know. But this does block Tarmogoyfs and trades with them, and it can remove miscellaneous one-ones and tokens. So, which is not good in this particular type of matchup. But maybe they're splashing red and they have a young pyromancer or something of that nature. So I think that works out pretty good for us. So we'll give this a go. Something like Mindbreak Trap is obviously not its best in this matchup because the likelihood of an opponent stringing together 3 spells in a turn is pretty low out of Bug, as it's a fair deck. But can happen, and in the least it pitches, and as late game comes on, I am able to actually hard cast it. Now this hand in particular is not very good. I can't answer too much, so I'm going to mulligan this one. I like this a lot better. I think Leovold, actually we might want that to pitch. I do like Plague Engineer, but I think we can ditch Plague Engineer for now. I would keep Plague Engineer in general over Leovold because the likelihood of me casting Leovold is more difficult than a Plague Engineer. That said, I would like to be able to counterspell and keep my Ponder to set things up. So a little bit awkward here because now we could be set up like our opponent did last turn. But we're going to preordain here. I'm not as incentivized to Wasteland because they have the Deathrite Shaman. This is solid. We'll try this. We'll set up, hopefully be able to Abrupt Decay next turn, the Deathrite Shaman, while holding Daze up here, but it's very possible that we just get Wastelanded here. Opponent's just sitting back, okay. Interesting. So they should make a move here with their Deathrite. And we are just going to Abrupt Decay that. Will they have an opportunity to do so? They get their Drain. And that worked out pretty good for us. Once again, still hoping to avoid a Wasteland here. I could see a world where, if they don't play a land here, obviously I will wasteland. So they did play a land. Leovold is a possibility here right now. We're fairly vulnerable to a number of different plays here. Time Walk is fine. Pick and choose our battles here. Brainstorm. How much do I care about Brainstorm? I suspect I do, to be honest with you, but how much do I care? I feel like I care. I'm going to attempt to stop this, and this is very aggressive of me to do this. I could get blown out by a Flusterstorm here, of course, but because they have the fetch land, I'm disincentivized to let that resolve. And if they cast something like a Tarmogoyf here, or a Leovold, then I've got a backup play with Daze. So the one thing our opponent is showing us here is they've got a lot of land. Let's see what they do. This looks like a Tarmogoyf, an Assassin's Trophy. That's pretty darn good against us because we don't have another basic in our deck. So I suppose I could have dazed it and saved it. Might have been smart to do that, to be honest with you. We don't have anything. So yeah, a little bit of a misplay there, I think, now in hindsight, particularly because I cannot daze now anyways. So it was probably just smart to do that. We could have saved something like a Deathrite Shaman coming down here. Or far worse, a Treasure Cruise. So this game has slipped away from us. I think a slight misplay on my part there has led me into a position where, they're obviously going to be slamming down some stuff here, unless they completely bricked on their Treasure Cruise. Yeah, it was definitely worth dazing there to save my land. They still would have been able to Treasure Cruise. There's nothing I could have done about that. Okay, Deathrite Shaman's solid. That's going to eat away at my Tarmogoyf and theirs for that matter. Oko, that's pretty good. Can't do anything there. Interesting to see my opponent playing Assassin's Trophy. I'm not a fan of Assassin's Trophy. Obviously, it was pretty good there in that distinct example because it could remove my land. I'm going to take a peek. And of course, Abrupt Decay can't do that. But I just find the uncounterability of Abrupt Decay and all the things that it hits just typically outweigh the more rounded Assassin's Trophy. And of course, one of my major complaints against Assassin's Trophy is that if you do actually Assassin's Trophy something and they do get a basic land out of it, it's just such bad value for you because for all intents and purposes, I mean, we're just a tax deck here. This is pretty bad for me. I'm very close to conceding here, but if we hit a black source, we can maybe just remove the Tarmogoyf and attack in. If they want to block, I think that's okay. See what they find. Puts a Preordain. Yeah, Preordain's pretty good. So they must have a counter spell here. All right. It's pretty bad for us. Not quite ready to pack it in. That line I took a little bit earlier by not dazing, returning my island ended up really biting me because this game could be a whole lot different if we had found if we had had a black source along the way. So they got a Demonic Tutor, and I think that's fine. They're going to go get a Leovold here, would be my guess. That or an Abrupt Decay, and just start their beatdown. I think we can concede and move on to the next game here. I don't think there's any reason to make them play it out. If this was a tournament of, any type of a challenge or something like that, I would not have conceded so easily there. Because this deck can wiggle out of spots, and I'm not sure how competent my opponent is. Despite I've seen Dutch Boy around a little bit, and they have been playing the same deck, I'm not convinced they are a top tier player. I think this is fine. Really wish we had a Deathrite Shaman here, but that's okay. Obviously, we're reasonably vulnerable here to Wasteland, but that's just the world we're living in. Deathrite Shaman. I'm just going to Abrupt Decay that next turn. Green and black. We'll take that away. Start fueling our Treasure Cruise. We may pitch the Treasure Cruise depending on what they do. Oh, they cheated a little bit. So this could be good for us here. Green, blue, black, and just resolves. Sorry about all the background noise, guys. My children are fairly loud. I don't really like this, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to just force it. Fairly aggressive, I know, but this is the reason why you want to do that, is that we ripped a Wasteland, and now we're so far ahead on tempo here that, yeah, my opponent just concedes. We're going to Treasure Cruise there, redraw another 3, and we replenish if they target any of our stuff. So feel pretty good about that.